Hi, I'm Enzo, and I run a small video production company where I'm a sole trader here in Melbourne called Tell the Story. And it's been my privilege over the last few years to make all kinds of films all over the world, particularly for not-for-profits and telling their story and helping them, but also here locally within corporate markets and real estate markets, and even in my own church where I attend. I'm a pastor, that's my background, and I attend Hillsong Church, and so I volunteer my time there to teach and do different things like that, but also to help with the creative side of making films and preparing content. It's been a great joy for me. And so the whole world as we know it has changed. It's a completely different situation, and just literally in the space of a few days here in Australia, everything's kind of in a lockdown stage, and they're talking about making it even more lockdown because of the coronavirus, which the whole world is in this. It's like World War III, but it's a virus that we're fighting, and this is our new normal. We don't know when it's going to end. We don't have an end date. And so I was thinking that I'm going to spend this time to create content that will help fellow filmmakers, fellow people in business, fellow creatives to sort of think about some things to do to not just occupy their time because they're bored and they've got nothing else to do, but to actually maximize the time. It's kind of been a practice of mine that I try to do this. Even when I'm on an aeroplane, I take things with me that I can work on, that I can actually keep productive, keep creative, do those things that I never get the chance to do. I'm not just going to sit on an aeroplane and go to sleep. I tend to want to sit on an aeroplane and make the most of that hour and a half that I'm on the plane, or even longer on a long haul flight. So I take things with me that I pre-prepare. Well, this is the time to do that. So I'm going to give you a few ideas that I have about what we can do. So subscribe, because the content's going to be coming out fairly regularly. I'm in my office where I have my editing suite, and I'm just going to do this as often as I can so that we can stay in touch. And I'd love your feedback in the comments. I'd love us to go on this journey together, because we don't know when it's going to end. They're talking about 6 months, they're talking about 12 months. Some of us are going to go through pretty hard times because we don't know how that's going to impact our businesses or our incomes. So I've got a few ideas, and I'm going to share them with you. So the first thing that I would say is to go to work every day. If your office is at home, which most of our offices are, go to work and start at a particular, dress up. Don't be in your pajamas unless you absolutely have to. Dress up, go to work, and pretend it's another work day. Now, you might be finishing off some projects that you had left over, and then you've got nothing. Well, go to work. And so that's what I do. I come in here, I go back into the house here and there and see my wife and see our children. That her daughter's pregnant and she's living with us at the moment with her husband. They've moved back from LA, thankfully, and she's due in a couple of months. So I go back into the house every now and again. So go to work if you're working from home. Make a list every day. So what are you going to do today? So write it down. I've got a kind of list thing here that I use. Write down your list. What are you going to achieve? What are you working on? What are the things you're going to do? And tick them off like you normally would. Don't now get lazy and get into YouTube watching and Netflix binging. What are you going to do today? So include your work. But here's a few other things that I thought you can include on your list. Spend half an hour and dream about how you want your business to be in the future. Like, what are you going to do in the future when this is all over differently to what you were doing before? So it might be that you start to dream about your vision and how you want your business to go. I think this is really important. I think it was Viktor Frankl who, in his very famous book that he wrote, he talked about people living in the concentration camps in Nazi Germany, and the people that ended up surviving were the people that had something to look forward to in the future. They had a garden that they were looking after, or they had a painting that they hadn't finished, or they left the house abruptly and they were renovating, or they had a plot of land that they were going to do some building. it was that vision of the future that created something for them to look forward to. But the people that didn't have anything to go back to gave up in despair and died from the despair. So we don't want to be those people. So start dreaming. I'm already starting to think about, well, what do I want to do different going into the future. On your list, I would suggest include FaceTime with people. People need to see your face. I've been doing a lot more FaceTime type calls, not just texting, which is important, and sending emails, but calling people on FaceTime so we can see each other. Because you don't want to be locked in isolation and not see someone else's expressions, their smiles, their laughter, and be encouraging to them. So include who you're going to call today. And sometimes those things come to mind through the day. Write them down on your list and then make those calls. I think that's really important. This is a great time just to check in with your regular clients. How are you going? Hey, I didn't ring you up for work. I just rang up to see how you're going. What's going on? How's your family? How's your children? How are you coping? Is there anything I can do for you? Make a list of those calls as well. I do them anyway during the course of a day when things are normal, but I'm finding that I need to do them even more now. I think it's also important that you journal these days. I've been a journaler for many, many years. I don't journal every single day, but I journal, and it's probably part of my pastoral thing. But write down what you're feeling. Write down, what is inspiring to you. Write down your story at this time, because there will be a day where you're going to look back on this day and say, wow, look at what we went through. Look at the highs and the lows. Get a nice pen. I have a really nice fountain pen, and write things down and write your feelings, write your thoughts, get them out on paper, and that way you've got something. So make a list of things, and then tick them off, and keep yourself accountable to that list. I think that's the first thing. The second thing is to prepare for your return. Think about, okay, well, this could be over in 2 or 3 weeks. It could be over in 6 months. It could be over in 3 months. Well, what am I going to do when I get back? And then maybe I'll be inundated. So this is a great time to do all those things that you used to think, oh, gee, I wish I had time to do that. Well, for me, it'll be going through all my NAS drives and all of my hard drives and cleaning out junk and making room for what's going to come up next. Going through the files that I no longer need, that have been hogging up my system, cleaning up my computer, cleaning up my desktop. As you can see, I've got a lot of desktop files there. Cleaning all that up, because I need to get ready for what's coming, and it could be an avalanche. I'm a kind of glass half full person. I think there could be an avalanche of people needing to get their messages out there, that they're back to work, that they're back to focusing on what's coming up. So do the cleanup. Do the new goals for the first week. What am I going to do in the first week, first couple of weeks of when things go back to normal? Another thing to do is to clean up the office, set some order to it. It's a great time to declutter, get rid of stuff, maybe sell some stuff on eBay that you need to do, tidy up all the cords, label things, get your label maker out, label things, all those things that when we were busy and flat out and we couldn't do them, now's the time to do them. Go through all your bags, your camera bags, and see what you might want to keep, what you don't want to keep. For me, we've got this room set up. It's a mess at the moment because we've been doing some cleaning up to make room for our kids coming back from LA. And so a lot of the stuff that we had in storage has made its way into our office. I've got 2 big bookshelves in front of me. I've got gear everywhere. I'm trying to fix up the space in this room so everything is cluttered. Declutter, get rid of stuff. Throw away some stuff. It's a great time to do that. But also clean your gear, like go through, polish up your lenses. It's a great time to clean your sensors. All of those little jobs that you think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. Do it now, and maybe, sell some stuff. I've got a whole lot of lenses and flash gear. I don't use flash anymore. I've got to sell that. Great time to sell. Great time to get rid of the stuff that you don't need anymore. The number 3 thing, I think, is if you've got extra time, now's the time probably to do some of those passion projects that you have wanted to do. that don't actually bring an income, but keep you adept at your editing, and maybe you're trying new things in After Effects, or maybe learning a new piece of software. This is a great time to do that because you've got time now. So go through your archives. Maybe you've got a whole lot of drone footage. You might be able to do your show reel. I think I need to do my show reel now that I've been wanting to do for years. Go through. Now's the time to do it. When you've got time, go through, plan it out, think about the storyboard, how you want to do it. You've got time now because you're not constrained by having to do all these projects one after another and staying up late and thinking, oh, I'll never get to do the things I want to do. Now's the time to do the passion projects. Okay, the next thing, number 4. This will be new to me, but I've got a stack of 4K amazing footage that I can put on stock sites, and I suggest that maybe now's the time to have that little bit of extra income coming in for the future by preparing stock and uploading stock to stock sites. I don't know how that all works out, but I've got time to figure it out now. I've got time to not just go through and find the clips that I want to upload, but also find out what's the best way to do it. And you can learn all this through the internet. Number 5, maybe this is a great time where, because content creation is really important during this coronavirus, content creation, companies are looking to say, well, how are we going to communicate with people? How are we going to stay in touch? How are they going? Because if they're out of sight, they're out of mind. So companies are looking to do something. Well, now's the time to make some suggestions. So I've contacted some of my main clients, particularly in the real estate world, because they're not allowed to have open home inspections and so on. Video content is going to be king. So what I've done is I've done a reduction of my price so that I can make it affordable for people if they're selling their homes, just for a period of time. I've said for 3 months my prices are actually going down. So what that does is it helps them and it helps me. So it creates an opportunity for them to have video, and also for some work for me, and also for some contact. Now, at the moment, I'm still allowed to do that. I'm still allowed to work. But what if the day comes when I can't do that? And they say, don't leave your house, as is happening in some countries. Well, then I have to rethink it. I have to rethink, well, how can I create content for my clients? So maybe get in touch with some of your key clients and say, hey, how can I help you create content right now to keep you in business? So for one particular superannuation company that I do work for, I'm not going to name them, but they are wanting to keep in touch with their clients because the stock market's gone stupid. So they want to keep in touch with their clients. I've suggested to them, why don't we do a weekly, bi-weekly message from the CEO, from the CFO, that just at least keeps in touch with people and lets them know what's happening. That could be a good idea. Maybe there's some other way that you can get content. Now, I made a whole video for a client based on their iPhone video that they shot. They went out and did some help for the bushfire relief and the drought and the floods that came, and they could only give me content on their iPhones with photos, and I made an emotive piece based on that content. So maybe there's some content that they can provide you that you can, download and make something for them. That will be good. Number 6, step outside. And, I get to have this office, which is a complete pigsty at the moment, but I've got French doors that open up to outside. It's important to go outside and just see the sun and, just think, every hour, go out for 10 minutes and just sit on a chair and just think about the world, think about the future, think about those people that are suffering. I use the time to pray for people. I have a list of people that I pray for, and people come to my mind. Out of that, I might contact them and say, hey, I've been praying for you. I've been thinking about you. So step outside. It's not all about what's going on right now. It's about we have a bigger picture, a bigger plan that we need to think about. And number 7, at this time, it's a great time just to show love to one another. I tend to be a little bit angry at times about stuff that's going on, particularly in the political world, and get frustrated with people pulling on their own agendas and not really understanding the truth and the facts, or discarding facts. I get really a bit worked up about that. Well, I have to keep telling myself, hey, love wins every single time. So be a little bit more loving. Maybe reach out to someone and be encouraging to them. Maybe someone that you don't really even get along with. Show love and kindness to them. If you have to go to the supermarket, which I need to today at some stage, be kind to the people around you. Let them go first if they're really in a hurry. If you see a mum with, kids hanging on because they're not at school, see if you can help them take their stuff to the car. Just be kind. Keep the social distancing happening, but be kind. But that's all I've got to say right now. I'm going to be back in the next day or so, and maybe encourage you further, and we'll see how we go. Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe. We'll see how we go on this journey. And don't forget, keep telling your story, because everybody's got a story to tell.